MLS Defender of the Year Matt Miazga has been suspended for the rest of the playoffs for, quote, his misconduct following FC Cincinnati's match against the New York Red Bulls on November 4th. Miazga reportedly entered the match officials' locker room after FC Cincinnati's playoff win over the New York Red Bulls in response to receiving 2 yellow cards, which assured him a one-match suspension. Miazga was suspended for 3 matches, issued a fine, and he must undergo a behavioral assessment through the league's substance abuse and behavioral health program. Whew, Jaleel, a 3-match playoff suspension might seem harsh to some people, but the match officials' locker room is an absolute no-go zone for players, as we know. Does the punishment fit the crime, in your opinion, and the timeline in which this all took in order to get this news as FC Cincinnati now gear up for their conference final?
The first thing I'll say is I think the time in which it took to deliver the decision was a little bit too long, in my opinion. I think that part of it is a little unfair to Cincinnati because they're trying to prepare for their most important match in club history, and they're finding out this news in the middle of the week. They should have at least had the whole week, at least, in my opinion. By Monday, they should have had the decision, so then you can go into your prep knowing that you're MLS Defender of the Year.
We had Pat Noonan on yesterday. He didn't know.
Exactly. And that's an unfair position to put any organization in. Also, speaking of unfair positions that you put an organization in, Matt Miazga knows that this is something that you can't do. Every single player understands, look, you cannot go into the locker room of the referees. So for people who don't really know or understand, when you go into the tunnel, the referees, they have their own locker room. Most of the time, you don't even know where it is. So you have to be very, very determined to get to where the referees are. The door is going to be closed. You have to open the door, go in, then there's a reported altercation. So that's just a situation where that's an absolute no-go. Allie's asking, does the crime fit the punishment? In my opinion, yes.
Yeah.
3 games is enough.
I do want to point out that Pat Noonan was asked about this yesterday and said that there's context that perhaps is missing from this story, and it doesn't.
From whose perspective?
From the players and from Matt Miazga's perspective. Okay. I think there's a perception, and Pat Noonan, this is from him, not me, but apparently this wasn't immediately after the game. It wasn't like he charged in there in his uniform right after the game. It was after they had showered, they had dressed. It was maybe an hour or so after the game that he went into the room. Wanted to have a conversation. And that's how Pat Noonan has sort of portrayed the situation unfolding. Now, should he have known better? That, to your point, Jaleel, that is a territory that you don't cross that line. You know, he should have known better. But there is what actually went down and what actually transpired within that conversation and how it was approached. I think that there's 2 different sort of sides to the story.
You know where Matt Miazga, I think, feels hard done by? Because it all began with a warm gesture to the fans. He hits his winning penalty kick, right? And he goes like this to the fans, saying, I love you guys, right? To the New York Red Bulls fan because of his past with New York Red Bulls. So he gets a yellow because of that. The referee obviously imagined that he was instigating, maybe not understanding the past between Matt Miazga and the Red Bulls fans. And he was like, I was trying to be nice and I got a yellow, and because of that, I can't play in the next game. Remember, because he gets that yellow, he was suspended for the next game against Philly, right? Yeah. And maybe in a heated discussion is where Matt Miazga, with having the referees at Red Bull, that the referees' locker room is close to the away dressing room.
Yeah, it's just literally right across.
Yeah.
And it could be a situation. Nobody knows really, except for probably Matt Miazga and the referees. But to enter the referees' locker room, unless they're literally, the door's open, they're like, come in, or you knock, and they're like, yeah, come in, let's chat. There's no other scenario where that is something that you can do. There's just no other scenario.
And flip it the other way around. What if you yelled at the ref in the game or something and the ref approaches your locker room? Will you be okay with that? No, for me, do not come to our locker room at all. This is for the players only and staff. Do not come that way. And never, ever in a game have I ever been like, I need to have a conversation with the ref. No, sometimes if I don't agree with them, I don't even shake their hand after. I'm like, it's better we're apart than together right now. I'll see you at the next game. And that's, as a player, that blows my mind that would even be a thought to go to the locker room.
Yeah, it's a very healthy approach, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well
You should tell
A
that
lot
to
of
the
therapy, a lot of therapy.
You should tell that to the owner of PSG, who loves storming referee locker rooms.
Good one.